So this hive here, we're going to be looking in, hopefully we'll look in today. This had the queen that I removed from the WBC. Remember, we tried all sorts of things, giving them new combs, separating the brood from the queen and the workers. All sorts of things we tried. None of those have been successful, sadly. So the only thing that seems to have worked so far is I removed the queen last week, a week ago, popped her in here in a cage for 2 days. The workers were feeding her, we made sure there was food on here, and we released her on the Saturday afternoon, 2 days after, with our Beekeeping group in the afternoon between the showers, and we made sure that she was released onto a frame of brood, and it was all looking pretty good. So I've seen pollen coming into this hive, so I'm hoping with a bit of luck that the bees in here are all settled now. They've got a queen they're happy with, and she's able to lay some eggs. So we're looking for eggs and brood inside this hive today. So this is our WBC hive, very busy at the entrance today. Lots going on. I am seeing some pollen coming into this hive as well, so that's really good. But a very busy hive. These have been separated from the queen. The queen was removed, and we've left one queen cell back in here for them, with a bit of luck, for them to rear up. So we're hoping that they've made no more queen cells. On the Saturday afternoon, I had a look with the experience group here on our Bee Experience Day, and even though I had removed what I thought were all the queen cells on the Thursday and we'd only left one, they'd already reared about half a dozen, and some of those were close to being capped as well. So we're hoping to not see any more of those. We're hoping they're starting to draw the foundation out, and we're also hoping that they're looking after the original queen cell and it's still there and not been torn down. So they're our objectives today. Roger will be here very soon, so I'm going to get everything ready ahead of Roger's arriving, and we'll get to it.
We sort of decided that our first lift is wrong, didn't we, on this one?
It looked like it's, yeah, from after the first lift it sort of goes slightly more...
Because it's actually sitting on top of the floor rather than
fixed,
going overlapping it. Right, okay, well, let's start taking these lifts off. If we make a pile of these, then we can put the supers on and get right down to that last lift and see if we can get it sat properly on the floor. Okay, here we go.
Here we are.
Well, we got bees up in the top. They're just sort of mooting about, looking the comb over, and
oh,
that's a frame that was partially drawn. Now it's partially capped, but they haven't actually finished drawing it. But
yeah,
maybe the stuff stopped coming in. I mean, had we not had all the messing about with swarming and whatnot, I think that would have been properly filled and properly finished. The fields of oilseed rape locally are turning from, oh, that's quite heavy, turning from yellow to green, so now is the time to whip it off before it crystallises. We've been very lucky with the weather at the moment because it's really warm, so that will slow down the process. Very often in the spring they will fill supers with oilseed rape honey, and then we have a really cold spell, so the bees stop collecting, and the stuff that's in the super, because it's away from the brood, it then really quickly cools down and crystallises. So that's why we reckon to take it off as soon as the flowers fade. I'm thinking that maybe I'll just, if I can, take the whole brood chamber off.
I'll take that super out.
Take the super out and then mess about with this bottom lift. Ooh.
Some weight
Thank
there.
Thank heavens that Uncle Roger's a big strong boy. And here we have a few drones trying to get out, who are a bit upset they can't go out and do what they want to do.
A little cluster on the underside.
Got a cluster of bees underneath the excluder. We've got a few dead bits of drone stuck in the excluder. Right, okay, I'm going to put that down over there. In a little while I shall shake it back into the brood chamber, but first off let's get this out of the way. So
That's
it should
better,
be like that. That looks better, yeah.
Brood chamber back.
Put this brood chamber back in, gives them somewhere to go. There shouldn't be any drones on top of this queen excluder because hopefully they won't have found a way around it.
No.
If they have, there's something awry. These are queenless, aren't they?
So yeah, these are queenless,
Yeah,
but they've got a queen cell, which is
explain why they're being a bit
grumpy,
silly.
which is marked by our drawing pin.
There's lots of bees on there, but they're not actually doing any cell drawing. If they don't have the incentive of the queen demanding somewhere to lay eggs, then
They're not going to do it, are
they
they?
don't do it. If we'd left multiple queen cells in this colony, then there's probably quite a good chance that they would actually have gone off as a cust,
Yeah.
because there are a lot of bees and there's plenty of stores.
A cast is a swarm, but without a mated queen.
With a virgin queen, yes. So instead of the first virgin going round and killing off all her half sisters, she goes off with usually a smaller swarm than a prime swarm.
Yeah.
But when they settle and somebody comes along to take care of them, they can be quite flighty, and you shake them into a box and you think, oh goody, I've got them, and then you turn around and they're all leaving again. So this one has, I think, judging by the bulgy bits, a couple of queen cells on this side, 1, 2, 3 on that side. I mean, they all look quite a good size. Okay, we'll check that the other one
Still okay.
whether it's still there. And that ought to have been emerging by now, shouldn't it?
It should be, yeah. That was the original
That
one, I
one
think.
that you're pointing at has actually emerged, so I can see the flap waving about.
So we should have a...
So there should be a virgin queen in here somewhere.
So it wouldn't be wise to leave the other cells.
No. And there's a lot of them.
So we're looking for a virgin queen, which is a bit of a needle in a haystack, isn't it?
It is in this situation, yeah. If the workers are really calm, then usually you can see the virgin because she's the one running about, but at the moment they're all jiggling about a bit. That was the one that survived. There's the flap of that one. When I see them like this, I tend to take them off, because very often what will happen is that a bee will go in there and start eating the food, the surplus food that's left.
Right.
And then some officious herbert will come along and reseal the cap on, and that bee then is stuck. Is that the virgin there? I think it is. Yeah, there she is.
Yes, she is, yes. We found her, Roger.
We saw that bigger, what's the name, thorax. Right, so
Just there.
we got any more queen cells on this side? That's the open one, isn't it? That's the one
There's
she's
one
just
here.
come from. So we'll take that. I think we can take these off then.
Yeah.
That one just about to open, I think.
I'll say this is when you get to the point of was it we had that last year? We opened a hive up and they were hatching as we were doing it.
Yeah, I did. When I was looking after the bees at Battle Abbey, there was a really big colony, and it had, I think it had swarmed already.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see a queen in there, or it was no, it hadn't swarmed already. It was queen cells anyway. and I picked the one that I wanted to keep, and because it had been there a week to my knowledge, I knew it was pretty close to emerging.
Yeah.
So I actually cut it off the frame and put it on top of the box, but I was using a towel as a
or like a cover
cloth,
yeah.
cover cloth, and so I covered it over with that so the sun didn't sort of cook it, and went through and took all the other queen cells out. And I came back to that one and the queen had emerged, and she was huge.
Wow.
She looked really big, and I was really pleased with her. And so I sort of just let her run down in amongst the frames again, and closed it all up. And yeah, so I was really, I thought, oh, you know, really good looking queen that. And so, you know, I thought, well, you know, new queen, they won't swarm for the rest of the season, perhaps, or at least next week anyway. So I left it for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then they swarmed. And I went in, and they'd just done 3 frames of brood. It was 14 by 12 colony, and they'd done 3 frames of brood, produced queen cells and swarmed.
Wow. And
that was from a swarm that I'd caught the previous, might have been the previous season, or it might have been even that season. No, it was the previous season.
Yeah.
And they just kept doing it, and every time they got a new queen, and 3 weeks later they swarmed.
God.
And so, you know, basically before the end of the season, I'd actually killed the queen that was in there, and put one of mine in, because there didn't seem to be any other way I could actually get it to stick.
Wow.
But you know, that's what happened. And I think that's what's going to happen more with these people that do so-called Darwinian beekeeping. Their bees are going to get more and more like that. They'll start off pretty sensible, and then because they're not doing inspections, and they're not tearing out queen cells or doing any of that stuff, then they'll become more and more prone to swarming.
Yeah.
Which will work for the Varroa problem, because, you know, continual brood breaks and never a lot of bees in the colony. But for a beekeeper who wants to keep bees for either honey or any of that stuff, you know, producing new colonies, anything like that, it's just a complete waste of time, because for all of these things you need a lot of bees. So, you know, if they're producing their own queens, they'll tend to get smaller and smaller, and that means that you won't be able to because they're not being fed by sufficient bees, they'll get smaller. So you won't be able to sort of keep them in, because they'll be able to run through a queen excluder like it's not even there. And yeah, I mean, the whole thing sort of negates the whole point of the hobby, really. You know,
not to mention the fact you're a nuisance to your neighbours.
And you're a nuisance to your neighbours, because your bees are going to be always swarming into the neighbours' gardens and whatnot. It's something you do, but you don't do it on your own in isolation. You're doing it in a community where not everybody loves bees like we do. All of them. Oh, don't like these microphones, do they? Look.
No, you got one stinging you.
I've been stung in the microphone.
Oh no.
There's one, nearly sneaked by.
Yeah.
A little A little late emergency queen cell. Come on you lot, you're in the way sitting there. Move yourselves. Go on, get out of it. I'm going to be clumping great heavy lifts down on there any minute. You don't want to be in the way when that happens, because like her, you'll be flat. Hello Robin, you're back again. Come on then, help yourself. We're saving all this garbage for you. So Robin with a nest, look. It's not eating them, it's carrying them away.
That was good to see, wasn't it? Okay, so to conclude, our WBC hive has got a virgin queen in it. We saw her, and we've destroyed even more queen cells. But and they're just about starting to draw out that comb as well. Only one of the 4 frames though, and as Roger said, it's not going to really happen until they've got the queen mated. But overall, that's all looking really good. And this one, we saw the queen. She's still present. That was the WBC queen from a week ago, and she's laying. They're all looking really, really good. So with a bit of luck, we'll be checking in on them in 2 weeks from now to see just how they are doing. Roger's going to have a look at them next week, and we'll join him in a fortnight to see how they're getting on, how our nukes are developing. If there are any crazy dramas that happen when he is here, I have got a little camera, a little GoPro camera, which I'll use in order to capture that if anything does happen. And of course, if any swarms or any crazy stuff happens, we'll be posting that to let you know what's going on. But in the meantime, enjoy your beekeeping. All the best here from Mantel Farm. We'll see you in our next video here on YouTube. Take care.